It's very rare to be able to do a show where the most important thing is being funny. Obviously, getting to work with me is a huge pull. I know there's a lot of big A-listers out there desperate to get screen time with me. I've got friends who are nurses and teachers. They're making a difference. I'm like, sorry, I'm so stressed, I'm working on a character and my wig hasn't arrived. My parents let my old room out to students studying abroad, and my dad can never remember their names. They had a boy called Jurchen staying for over a year once, and my dad called him Courgette the entire time. I find it a lot with Australian and New Zealand comics, and people from that part of the world. We share quite a similar sense of humor, I think. We had such a strange upbringing with such eccentric parents, and so we were often put in situations where finding what was funny was a survival thing. It's just a lovely way to do comedy, where you have the freedom to try stuff, but then you also have a really strong, solid script to go back to if you're brain dead and tired. Stath Lets Flats, at its heart, is a character comedy show about a family-run estate agents, but it's inspired by a real family. My Greek relatives, I think, probably are vampires. I feel passionately that we need more space on TV for sketch shows for character actors to experiment. They are cheaper to make and easier to do. You can just cram in loads of talent into a format that works and works. But if you look back, a lot of people we love today, like French and Saunders, Ricky Gervais and Steve Coogan, all started in sketch shows. We still have a long way to go in such a misogynistic industry, but the discussions that we are having on social media and in politics about the equal representation of women, which wasn't happening when I started out, is definitely changing things. We are trying to shine a light on the infantilization of women in the music industry. It's in the fashion and media industries too, this idea that women are more attractive if they look like little girls. Whenever we do wire work, we do look like babies just being, like, dangled. I grew up watching Big Train, these collectives of comedians who knew each other, and as a comedy fan you knew who was going out, who were best friends. I'm so lucky. I got to be a vampire. It's incredible. Often it's seen as empowering if you're cleverer than the men, or more aware, then you're giving the woman a great strong role. And that's true to an extent. But when it's a comedy, you want to be as mad and silly and funny as the men. I have a simple brain. TV presenting is not so easy. I was obsessed with Twilight. I love the very, very serious drama of Bella and Edward. They were the most serious people in the world, with the worst senses of humor. It's embarrassing to say you want to be a comedian, admitting that you want attention and you think you're such a laugh. I only use Tinder to have horrible conversations with people. I accidentally liked this man on there, and he sent me some really horrendous things. I was like, I'm gonna be even more horrendous. I was by myself, having the time of my life. Then I felt slightly sick. Everyone who does comedy at my level thinks the same thing. What am I doing with my life? I love watching TV. I probably spend too much time on my phone, but it's probably not very good for your mental health, is it? It indulges some of your worst personality traits, like staring at other people's lives on Instagram for hours on end. I think being creative and making something that you can look at is so good for your brain and your soul. Nothing beats it. I used to be a nanny, and the kids used to laugh at me when I'd say, "Shall we paint something?" They just wanted to go on their iPads. You just get satisfaction from achieving something that you just don't get in any other way than from being creative. I've just got a flat with a little balcony, so I did that fantastic thing of buying far too many plants and not really knowing what was going to stay alive and what wasn't. What's not to aspire to about how to grow your own fruit and vegetables and plants, and then being creative? Treat your eyeballs to people who are truly joyful, escapist, or interesting for you. I think trying to be hot is the antithesis of trying to be funny. If you're aware of what you look like, or you're trying to, you can't be truly funny. I think mockumentaries are such well-trodden grounds for comedies. It has been done a lot, but it is because of that informal nature. It's such a fertile ground to be funny. I lived for a little while in a place where the kitchen was a cupboard on the landing. My parents' house, to be honest, is like a snail's disco. It's a fine house, but my parents are very eccentric. Also, that house might be built on an ancient Egyptian burial ground or something, because the plague of insects that hit that house as we were growing up. Me and Jamie have grown up together, and we work in the same industry, and I quite often feel very lucky. Doing Stath, I look across the room and think, not only is one of my best friends here, but he's also my brother. Vampires, they're like the gift that won't stop giving. It's a good, fruitful place to find comedy because they take themselves so seriously. Like in EastEnders, they can write coronavirus into the scripts, so people can actually be socially distancing. But if you're in a sketch show where you're on top of each other, doing stupid things, you can't really make it work. Turns out tomato feed is the gift that keeps on giving. It's good for any plant. I've always wanted to try presenting and see what it was like, and you know, it could be a huge mistake. Who doesn't want to come and put fangs on, and a funny mad costume, and pretend to be like a really over-the-top blood-sucking monster for a couple of days? It's like dress up. Anyone who takes themselves very seriously, or is in any way pompous, or thinks of themselves quite highly, as soon as you pull out one little thread, you find one little chink. That's when it's the funniest. Working with Vic Reeves in a beautiful English field surrounded by loads of chicken wire, it's every person's dream job. I hate Zoom. Mainly because I hate staring at my own face. If anyone pays me a compliment, I'll do almost anything. I'm not green-fingered, I'm gray-fingered. I suck the life out of plants. Well, I'm obsessed with shoes, small shoes, weirdly shaped shoes, hot dogs and shoes, things sliding in and out of shoes. I suffer from IBS, so I'm severely constipated at all times. Having an enthusiasm to move doesn't necessarily mean that the Lord has blessed you with the feet to do so. My dad makes me hiss with laughter. I tried to pull off a pair of thigh-high suede boots once, but my legs just looked like two big trouts wrapped up. Comedy characters that take themselves very seriously, but are actually fools, is so funny.